"Finally you're out of my life," she said. "The company is mine now. My name is Silas Ward, and that's what my wife said as the judge handed down my sentence. 5 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit." She clapped. In open court. I didn't turn to look at her. Didn't give her the satisfaction. But I saw the smirk on her reflection in the courtroom glass. Small, smug, polished. They said I embezzled funds from my own company. That I falsified ledgers, funneled money offshore. The paper trail was perfect. Too perfect. Because I didn't make it. She did. The officer came forward with the cuffs. "Hands," he said like I was a nuisance. As he pulled my arms behind my back, I leaned toward my lawyer and slipped him a folded note I'd kept tucked in my palm since the trial began. No one saw. Not even her. Inside it read, "Find Michael Carter immediately. Tell him his only son has been imprisoned on false charges. My wife has no idea who my real father is. She thought I was done. She thought she knew who she married. She thought this was over. But she never asked where I came from. She never thought I was born with a backup plan. Prison wasn't the punishment. Watching her take over everything I built, that was. I co-founded Ward and Hunt Innovations from our garage. Spent years coding, negotiating, risking every cent we had. She joined later when it was safe, when we got our first investor. Said she wanted to support the mission. I handed her CFO. I trusted her. She married into my life and into my company. And apparently she married out of both, the same day. From inside I got news fast. The moment I was booked, she changed the locks on the house, revoked my access to all accounts, and made a dramatic video press release. "My husband's betrayal broke me," she said with a tearless sob, "but I will rise." People applauded her. Investors backed her. She played America's grieving wife, the strong woman reclaiming her power. She even posted a black and white photo of us with a caption, "Sometimes love becomes survival." My lawyer came the next morning. "I found him," he said. "Michael Carter." He paused. "You're serious? That's your father?" I just nodded once. "He's ready to talk," my lawyer said. "He's flying in." I looked through the glass, my face unreadable. "Good," I said. "Let's begin." Michael Carter wasn't just some powerful businessman. He was the Michael Carter, the reclusive venture titan behind half of Silicon Valley's unicorns. Forbes called him the Kingmaker. Most people didn't even know what he looked like now. But I did. Because he visited my mother once a year. Quiet. No headlines. Just respect. She made him promise to never interfere with my life unless I asked. She didn't want his legacy to overshadow who I became. And I kept that promise, until now. He walked into the prison's legal visitation room like he owned the air around him. No bodyguards. No introductions. Just, Silas. I stood. "Thank you for coming." He looked at me for a long beat. "Your mother would have wanted me to." Then he sat. Pulled out a thick folder. "This is everything on her," he said. "Her aliases. Her movement of funds. Offshore accounts she didn't know I could trace." "She thinks she's a genius," I said. Michael just smiled. "She's clever. But she's never played with people who build empires." My hands tightened into fists. "She left me to rot," I said. "No," he corrected gently. "She gave you a controlled environment. Now let's turn it into a war room." We started slow. Quiet. Michael's people didn't crash through doors. They infiltrated. First, we targeted the financials. Not by hacking but by precision. Her accounts were protected, yes, but her ego wasn't. She had started siphoning off company funds into a private consulting firm under her maiden name. Michael bought the firm anonymously. By the time she realized someone was shadowing her transfers, her safe zone was ours. Then came the employees. She fired everyone loyal to me after the trial. But loyalty isn't erased with pink slips. One by one they started reaching out, quietly, with documents, patterns, flags. "She's restructuring everything for a sale," one ex-staffer told my lawyer. "Foreign buyer. Aggressive timeline." I clenched my jaw. She was planning to gut the company and vanish. Michael's voice was steady on the phone. "We let her get to the table. But we choose the buyer." Meanwhile, inside prison I stayed quiet. Routine. Respectful. I played the part she wrote for me. Until the warden handed me a letter one morning. No return address. Just a sentence in her handwriting. "I'm sorry it had to be this way." I read it twice, then smiled slowly. She thinks the ending's already written. 2 months later, a bidding war broke out. Exactly as Michael planned. My wife thought she was orchestrating the deal of the decade. selling our company to a Chinese tech firm for nearly double its value. She was already on magazine covers, labeled a visionary under pressure. She didn't realize that both top bidders were fronts. Shell firms backed by Carter Holdings. She wasn't selling the company. She was selling it back to me. She set the meeting for Thursday, my lawyer said during our weekly visit. Downtown. Full boardroom. The final sign-off. And she doesn't know? I asked. He shook his head. Your name won't show until the final page. You'll be in that room. But to her, you're just the buyer's legal advisor. I nodded once. Inside I practiced control. I focused on every breath, every moment. I wouldn't be walking into that boardroom to scream or accuse. I was walking in to watch her hand me everything, legally. And then, the night before the meeting, a guard passed me a new envelope. This one wasn't hers. Inside was a photo. Her. With someone I recognized instantly. My co-founder. The one I trusted like a brother. It hit me like a silent detonation. The photo wasn't blurry or accidental. It was crisp, clear, her hand on his chest, both of them smiling. Intimately. Like they hadn't just shared betrayal but had built it together. It explained everything. Why the digital breadcrumbs were so perfectly placed. Why he didn't defend me during the trial. Why he stayed silent while the company's narrative shifted. He wasn't collateral. He was her accomplice. She's not just selling to escape, I told Michael over a secure line the next morning. She's buying his loyalty with my legacy. Michael didn't sound surprised. We already suspected him. But now it's personal. That's useful. I stared at the photo again, this time not with anger, but precision. I want them both in that room, I said. Don't tip him off. They'll be there, he said. He's the one bringing the final documents. They're expecting a foreign buyer. I exhaled slowly. Good. I didn't want courtroom justice. I didn't want revenge headlines. I wanted the kind of silence that shakes people for years. And tomorrow I'd watch them walk into a deal designed to bury them in their own signatures. The boardroom was glass-walled, high above the city. Morning sun reflected off steel and marble. I arrived first, in a tailored navy suit, quiet, forgettable, just another legal rep for the acquiring firm. She walked in 10 minutes later, radiant in white. Confident. Fake humble. Behind her he followed. My former partner. Laughing at something she whispered. His hand grazed the small of her back like he owned what I built. They didn't even glance at me. The buyer's team was already seated, all Carter's people. Ivy League faces, passive smiles, diamond pens. They opened the packet slowly. Pages flipped. The terms were generous. Excessively so. She grinned. Almost feels criminal, she joked. The lead counsel nodded. One signature left. Final page. She grabbed the pen. Paused dramatically. Then, she saw it. My name. Silas Ward, she said aloud, confused. Why is his name here? Her partner leaned over, scanning. His face drained. Then I spoke. Calm, steady. You just sold your controlling stake, to me. The room froze. I didn't come back to accuse you, I continued. I came back to own what you tried to steal. And then I looked him in the eyes. Both of you. She stood there, fingers frozen around the pen. He was already sweating. The legal team said nothing, just observed. Carter's people were professionals. They didn't flinch. You can't do this, she finally said, voice shaking. This is fraud. You lied. No, I replied quietly. You just didn't ask the right questions. I slid a document across the table. A quiet thud. A timeline of her financial movements. The offshore accounts. The wire transfers to my co-founder's consulting shell. And you, I said, turning to him. You used proprietary software to mask those transactions. The system we built together. His mouth opened. Closed. This isn't an ambush, I said. It's a return on investment. You handed me everything I needed, in full, notarized signatures. Her voice cracked. You set this up. I didn't deny it. I just looked at them both and said, I set nothing up. I simply waited. You gave me 5 years to study the system you built to destroy me. Security escorted them out. Not forcibly. Just enough pressure to remind them they weren't in control anymore. They didn't speak. They didn't have to. They knew. This time, silence was my signature.